Shut up and sit down.
All right, are we ready to talk some football?
Let's talk some football.
We're not gonna.
I'm getting ready to go to Pornhub because this just got me going.
Nice.
Find Kyle Allen on there.
Before you go to Pornhub, can we talk some beer? Because Joe's getting thirsty.
Let's talk some beers.
Let's Kevin.
Kevin.
I was going to say Kyle and Evan are tied together.
Here he goes again.
So Evan, you want to kick it off properly?
Sure, let's do that. Everybody, welcome into the Pigskin Pricks. And as you can tell, we're having a grand old time here on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. And we're
after fucking noon, where are you at? Like,
hey, it's afternoon somewhere.
Yeah, right. What time is
Hawaii.
You know, who knows when people
Japan.
are actually listening to this, right? It could be the freaking middle of the night, the morning.
John, if you had the damn palm trees in your background, we wouldn't be having this issue right now.
Would have been the afternoon.
That's the wind blowing those palm trees.
Oh, how beautiful.
I still got Amazon smiling face. You notice that hasn't moved still to this day.
Yes.
Supporter of Bezos. All right. Well, let's talk. Before we talk football, let's talk beers. What is on the beer menu tonight?
Man, well, you know what? Since John always insists that I go first.
I do.
I actually picked a beer that's local. It's from a brewing company called Keg Creek. And the reason I chose it was just simply by the name. And its name, Lemonade Stand.
Oh, nice.
All right. And so I was like, and you guys know, I love lemonade, right? It's the one thing that I'll drink beyond water and beer. I don't drink soda, coffee. I don't drink any of that crap. So the name really intrigued me. I haven't had it, so I'm going to open this baby. This will be my first.
Yeah, I even like.
By the way,
I even like the name of the brewery. At first,
Keg Creek.
Yeah, that's a great name.
It's actually because they're building sets on Keg Creek. So I mean,
and they didn't just invent the keg name from beer.
No, cool. It's the creek's actually is Keg Creek. So yeah. So here goes.
All right, let's see.
Do a smell test. Oh, he's drinking it. He didn't. Have you never had wine? You don't know to.
Oh, look at that face.
Is it sour?
Oh no.
Oh, that is bad.
Hey, hit it again. See if it gets better.
The more you drink it, the better it'll start tasting.
It's a Goss ale with
it is a sour.
Coriander.
Beautiful. I would love it. I can tell you that right. Ghost. So I say ghost. Some people I've heard call it gose, but it's a sour is what that stands for. It's purposely soured beer, right? Wild yeast. Some places like Belgium, there's some beers they actually use like the brewers will put their facial hair in it to make it wild. I'm not kidding. It's it's like the monks or whatever over in Belgium or whatever. So it can go pretty out there.
Well, I'll tell you what. Are you
going to finish that one?
Well, here's the problem that we're going to run into. Let me just say. Well, first of all, I don't pour out any beer.
Right.
At all.
But it doesn't mean you're not going to let it sit.
No. So here's the deal on this. So I just introduced a wild sour. Was it 2 shows ago? I think.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. I think I gave it a high score. I would score this higher than a 3. This is some of the nastiest fucking beer I've ever had in my life.
So I have questions.
Here's the problem.
Keep going.
Yeah. I will drink it. But here's the bad thing.
You'll never buy it again.
I bought a 6-pack of this shit. So now I'm stuck with 5 other fucking beers that I fucking hate. I mean, I would rather drink Kyle Allen's piss. No, well, we'll see because I'm going to drink it throughout the show. But that is bad. It's just like a nasty sour beer. No, Leah would no, she'd fucking hate it. No, I had that sour. That Flanders Red, and it was really good, but it is nothing like this. You know what, John? As a matter of fact, I'm coming out to see you next week. Maybe I'll bring some lemonade stand with me.
You need to.
Because that shit is rank. I mean, you know what?
Tell me, now I'm going to ask some character. What is it about the flavor profile or that turns you off so much?
It's okay, so you know a good lemonade is tart.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
This is not that. This is the sourest. There's no sweetness in this at all. None. Zero.
Oh.
In the other wild sour that I had, there was a little. It
Right.
wasn't a lot. But Jesus Christ, give me a hint. This is like as sour as I've ever tasted, and then a nasty flavored beer behind it. It has no, and maybe that's something you're into. Maybe this is the first one of these I've had because I don't ever remember a beer tasting that bad.
So some of them you will call. I would say that the fermentation and the sourness almost gets to like. I'm trying to think of the right word without just being like making it sound horrible. Rotten. It has kind of a rotten smell or flavor to it. Like
That's exactly what it is.
That is actually very prototypical of a normal Gose beer. The sweet makes it easier to tolerate, but that's actually not shocking. So I was over in England. I've been there multiple times, and I was having a cider. And it's actually a bigger thing over there. But now the U.S. is getting kind of come along. Well, the other
That's
thing,
my drink.
right? The other thing England does a lot is they'll have like pull cask beers that are the temperature is maybe slightly better than room temperature. They're not cold. Okay.
Yeah.
And so you got to be careful if you're not into that kind of shit. So I had an apple cider, hard cider beer that was a pull. So it wasn't very cold. And it was definitely fermented in a way that when I drank it, the taste wasn't too bad as far as I'm concerned. But Diana, my wife, was interested in it, and I said, it's not too bad other than it smells like cat pee. I mean, and I'm not kidding. It had kind of a rotten, fermented odor that reminded you of, ammonia-smelling cat pee. But the taste wasn't bad. So I'm not shocked. That's what I was after.
Yeah.
You also said it had a coriander flavor, so I was wondering if that's what turned you off.
Yeah. Do you know what this I just took another drink. Do you know what this reminds me of?
No, tell me.
The shittiest fucking cheap Chardonnay you could possibly buy. That's what it is. It's a nasty fucking white wine. It is rotten.
Yeah.
I mean, and listen, there's white wines that I like. This is the
this one.
shitty box shit, and that is what this beer is, and it's even worse.
Wow.
You might have
It's
to
a fucking 3.
send the show a link to the show to Keg Creek, and maybe they'll give you your money back and a better beer because
They better. Now I've actually been to their brewery, and they have some good beers.
Yeah, I believe it.
This ain't one of them. This
was a marketing ploy to get you based on a name, and it worked.
It worked. I fell hook, line, and sinker, man. I fell for this shit. I'm like, lemonade stand. This is great.
It sounds appealing.
It does.
It looked good. It had a good picture on it.
Doesn't the can look good
Yeah,
too?
it looks awesome.
I mean, it has everything, and I'm like, and that's why usually I just buy one.
You were looking forward to it. You're like, I'm going. I'm in.
Yeah. And holy Jesus, this is shit. I could pee in this and it would taste better.
Well, maybe you can do that. Add a little bit of flavor.
Right.
I might.
We'll take a moment to let you go ahead and do that, Jeff, and we'll see what you think.
Man,
All right.
That's bad.
So the fun part about this is, I already kind of gave it away to you guys, but I'm going to say it again. So I was at my local liquor store in Bristol, Virginia, actually Bristol, Tennessee, on the Tennessee side. And I'm going to give them a shout out because I had a fun conversation with them. It's Parkway Liquor Store, and it's because it's on Volunteer Parkway, and it's people I know, whatever. So anyway, I walk in there to buy a whiskey that I was recommended, and as I'm walking in, I go through and I see this clearance area of a bunch of beers, like buy the can and they're on sale, and I'm like, woohoo, because it's a lot of shit I haven't seen before. So I got a whole pile of it. So we're gonna have it for shows to come. So today I grabbed one. I mean, most of these I've never tasted before. I bought 2 because I figured if I like it, I can drink another one. And if I hate it, oh well, it's only 2. I'll make my son drink one or my wife. This one's cool because it's from Tennessee, and not all of them are. So it's Cutaway IPA, and there's an interesting story to this one too. So the dude that's working the counter is like, yeah, his some family member, cousin, not a brother, somebody like that. He's like, dude works there. So that's even cooler. But they only had a couple because I grabbed 2, and I don't think they had any more on the thing. And it's just kind of neat. So it's an IPA.
Yeah, looks cool.
I'm a big fan of IPAs.
I like the artwork.
Even though Joe's not. Yeah, I think it has some cool shit on the back too. It just looks neat.
Right. I like the
100%
color
locally. Rye. Oh,
That would be
rye
appealing
IPA.
to me.
Yeah. And
But
it's
then
a
again,
cool,
the lemonade stand also looked appealing to me.
it's a
so-
cool.
Yeah,
This
I
is
know,
not. This
me
is not
too.
their glass. This is a glass thrown out to Henry T's in Topeka, Kansas, where I used to live.
Nice.
My daughter worked for a long
So
time.
is this going to be your first sip as well?
It is.
Wow.
So because it was a bottle, I
alright.
had to crack it. But see, I'm even going above and beyond. I'm pouring it in the glass and not drinking it ahead of time,
Two
so you guys
first
can get
time.
the whole.
Alright.
You guys, that's what I thought. I was like, this is kick ass. You get the whole. Now look at that
Exciting. That's exciting.
color. Other than
good
you're getting a
color.
little of my red, but still, it's got a good color. It's got a good head, like Kyle Allen gives.
Right.
Oh man.
I'm gonna smell it. So you definitely smell some yeasty aroma.
Mhm.
Oh, dude, that's a good beer. It's a little milder on the hop fruitiness at the end that most IPAs would have, but it's not bitter. There's no bitter. So Joe, you'd probably like this because
Right.
I'd call this a little more on the
Right.
a hoppy lager or a pilsner, not a bitter.
So I'm going to need you to go back to Bristol and buy some more
I'll
of that
save
because
the
I'm
other one.
coming next week.
I'll
Or
save
do
the other
that.
one for you. I'll
Whatever,
save the other
'cause
one.
I'd
Like I
like to
said,
try that.
on the counter, I think that was it. There was no more.
Yeah.
Popular one.
Well, I think so. It's interesting. Tennessee has some really weird laws about liquor, and it's changed over the last election. Like my county where I live in was dry. And it wasn't so much dry as they had some rules about you couldn't have something selling beer within a certain distance from a school or a church. So guess what's
Oh, okay.
all over my county? Like everywhere. Churches. Like
Yeah.
I live in an unincorporated town and there's 6 churches and we got not even 1,000 people here. Not even. I mean, go any direction out of my town, there's churches, dude, because they're shutting up, just keeping that. Well, they passed a law to allow it. So this liquor store, next to the liquor store was another store that sold beer. And next to that was a store that sold cigars and shit. It's all owned by the same people. Well, they're all moving it into the main shop now because they don't need all that floor space because the rules changed. So I think they were like, well, we got all these mixture beers that we can't even make a 6-pack out of. Let's stick them on the shelf and sell them cheap. So that's what I think it was. Because, I mean, I'm picking through. Some of them I only got one. That was it. That was their beer,
How many did you buy?
2 cases.
Wow. What do
Yeah.
you give it? What is that?
I might have
what do you
got
give a rating
two
of
and a
that?
half cases, I think, actually. I did get one whole 6-pack of Schley, St. Louis, Missouri beer. It's an IPA, but it was 99 cents a bottle. I'm like, I can't buy fucking regular decent, and
No.
I know they're good. I like their beers. I'm like, I can't buy a 6-pack for less than $6 of a good craft beer. So I just got all 6 of those. So sorry, Evan, you said.
I was gonna say, what's the rating?
Oh yeah, okay. I got busy chatting because it was so fun. Let me polish it off. Let me have one more drink. It's not my favorite because I like it a little more fruity and somewhat more bitter, but it's so clean and nice.
I sure as hope.
For not being the first time where Joe's like, holy shit, that is a solid 6.8.
Oh wow,
6.8.
that's
Well,
lower
I'm
than
picky.
I would give
I'm
it.
picky.
Okay.
So
yeah, okay. I just the way when you first took the first drink,
it's
I'm
good.
I was
like,
expecting,
oh, yeah, right. I mean,
well,
you kind of sold it like it would be more than a 6.8. So that actually was
now
that's
feel
higher. That's
Bad.
higher, but I just thought you would give it more than a 6.8. But a 6.8 for you is higher than it would be on my scale.
now see now I feel bad because maybe it's low.
Well, listen, I gave it a 3,
Look,
and
I already
I don't
drank
feel
half the-
bad at all.
I
Matter of fact, I gave it credit.
Beer.
I know.
I
Evidently
already
it's
drank
good.
most of it, so it's not.
Yep.
I think it's because of
Mine's still full because I peed in it.
right. Well,
Oh, all right.
I
It's
think
better.
it's because of my comparison to other IPAs, and I like so many others that I'm kind of picky because that's not. Forgive me, I would say most people would say this is a higher quality beer, just on the beer scale, and I probably should have considered that. But see, remember I gave the shitty Natty Light or Natter Days
Natter
a
Days.
7.5, I
Seven.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, if I were to stand the beers next to each other, I wouldn't rate them. I would not rate this less than that.
Well, it's
But
like apples and oranges.
It's in the category of IPA.
It's two different, yeah.
Yeah, 6.8. 7.
Well,
it could be a
don't-
7, but
Don't drink the other one.
I won't. No, you judge it later. It's
Yeah, I
probably
will.
better than that. The other thing I noticed, I think because I pulled it out and let it sit here, it's a little cool or warmer than I would have preferred.
Oh, okay.
But
Well, can't win
I
them
let it
all,
sit
right?
too long. No, it's still a good
All
beer.
right.
So forgive me.
Well, I think John wins the beer segment for today. No doubt about it.
I definitely had a better tasting beer.
I
That's for sure.
I just concede. I mean,
Yeah, no point.
There is no, yeah.
All right. Well, let's move into football. Let's get to our draft busts. I don't think we even introed what the show is about. It's about fantasy football draft busts. And, it feels like a natural starting point. Start with quarterbacks. So, the first and foremost, the rankings are a little bit different than the last time when we talked. There's some guys that moved all up and down the board. It's looking a little bit crazier than it was last time. So by the time you're listening to this, there's a good chance that these rankings are going to be different again. So don't kill us.
Right. So let me help set this up a little bit, Evan, just to make sure we cover the bases with the listeners.
Yeah.
So we're all going to use fantasypros.com. Not that we're trying to advertise them. They just seem to have a really good site for looking at this shit.
They do.
They might have their head up their ass. We don't.
They have a bunch of different guys who are
right.
Coming together for it.
Right now, the one we're looking at. So we're using as of June 11th, fantasy football dynasty rankings for 2020. Right? Oh, I picked dynasty rankings. Oh shit. It should be draft rankings. I picked the wrong one.
You
Son of a bitch. No wonder it was so wild. Okay, I'm back.
Well, it's still going to look a little bit different.
It is different. Oh my God! No wonder. No, that actually makes sense because they had.
It makes a whole lot of sense because there's some guys that I was wondering why they weren't in the top 10.
Right. They had guys that were, I would say, younger in their career, up higher, and I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? So forgive me, everybody. That's because in a dynasty league, that would make a lot of sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
But in a individual single year, you don't necessarily go after those guys if they're not going to perform.
Right.
So forgive me. Anyway, we're using the 2020 draft rankings, and I didn't even notice I did Dynasty till I looked up and went, Dynasty. And so as Evan said, so right now it has a consensus of 55 experts out of the 78 they have apparently available to do a pick. So it's a good round average. So we're using their ranking. We're all using it.
Right.
He's talking to his dog or something.
No, my daughter came down. She said,
well,
hi, Daddy.
I thought you said buddy, so I'm like, maybe that's a dog.
Hey, come here. Say hi to everybody.
So, again, that way we're all on the same page. Woohoo! We'll pause for a second. Hey, Hadley, how's it going?
Hi, Hadley.
Can you say hi to Uncle John and say hi to Evan? You remember Evan? Yeah.
I remember him.
You remember him? Yeah.
You probably don't remember me. You saw me when you were really little.
Hey, we're going to see Big John next week.
Yeah, you're going to come ride on my playground. You're going to play on the playground and go in the slide.
He just built a huge playground with a big slide for you. Yeah.
And we cleaned the pool yesterday. We have a above ground pool. And
you get to go swimming?
Yeah.
What?
Ooh.
Oh, Uncle John's got a much better house than Daddy does.
I do.
Yeah.
And it's in the mountains where if the zombie apocalypse happened,
I know.
They'd have to come up the mountain. We could shoot them from above. So
we'll be safe there at least for a week. What do you think about that? Okay. All right, kiddo. Is it bedtime? Look at Dad. Is it bedtime? Are you trying to?
She says maybe. Maybe not.
Give Daddy a kiss.
She says, no, I'm part of the show.
She's
I have
a
a lot of opinions on this.
Okay.
Rankings now.
Yeah. All right. You got to go. Got to go. Good night. Love you. I'm sorry, guys.
We're all worthless now. We're just got good time. We're like, what were we talking about? So anyway, we're all using the same ranking system. We challenged ourselves with having to pick out of the top 10. Like you, as Joe put it, you could pick any piece of shit and say he's going to be a bust. But to pick somebody out of top 10 and then make a guesstimate of who's going to be the worst out of them or not have the year we expect, that's a little harder. So there's some criteria.
Well, my rankings don't change, even though it's Dynasty. So we're still good.
It probably –
or it was Dynasty. My guys are all – I'm still
bummed.
Good.
I'm bummed. I'm going to tell you one of them that was on the list that I was definitely going to say in quarterbacks that I can't say now. Yeah, because Joe Burrow was number 10.
Yeah, I saw that.
For sure.
If you remember earlier, right? Well, and not only that, but earlier in the year when we talked about people, I said Joe Burrow was going to bust. I didn't.
I think that's the consensus. Don't take him because he's on the Bengals.
Yeah.
Dynasty
so anyway,
is not a horrible pick.
Yeah, no, it is, and so now he's not even on top 10, so that's okay. But there's still plenty of fun here. But anyway, just to set the listeners, that you guys out there up. Yeah, we're not crazy. We're not like picking these guys on purpose thinking they really suck. We're saying out of the top 10, these guys aren't going to perform in the top 10. And we even kind of challenge ourselves to say that if they end the season at 16th or less, like, 16th worst, or they're not in the top 15 players in the fantasy league, then we consider that a bust. They didn't perform. So then we can raise our hand and say, hey, we were right. Or if they're the 15th, we're like, that close. So anyway, that's kind of the criteria. Now we're going to get to the real important part, which is our picks. So anybody want to jump on this one first? Evan, Joe, who wants this one?
I think Evan should take it.
It sounded like he was ready. Go ahead, Evan.
He did.
I'm totally fucked because I was looking at a different list.
Yeah.
Well, me too. I'm actually trying to pull up the new list going, all right, guys, well, now I got to rethink my
Here's my thing.
Joe, I'll give you the names if you need.
I'm going to go with
I've got them. I just pulled it up. I'm
going to go with a quarterback to start. So, we'll let you guys start with, whoever later on. But
we'll add our quarterbacks.
For quarterback, I'm going to go with quarterback ranked 9th. I'm going to go with Drew Brees. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this, and it's not because I'm a New Orleans hater. I like the Saints. I was with you originally, John, in that I thought they were going to win the division until Gronkowski changed my plans here. But based on everything that's happened with Drew Brees in the last week or so, regardless of what you think on his comments, he really fractured that locker room. On top of the fact that they aren't going to have training camp, they aren't going to have extra time to sort of rebuild trust. He's on the wrong side of 40 now. He's had injuries. He had injuries last year. When we get to the second half of the season, I believe it was the year before, his numbers started declining towards the second half of the season. It feels like he's sort of on the tail end of his career, not in a good way. And I don't see him as a top 10 quarterback. And I think if he's going to have a big drop off, this kind of feels like the beginning of the end for him. So I would avoid Drew Brees as he's been reliable for me in the past. I've won fantasy championships with Drew Brees, so it kind of hurts me to say it, but I would avoid Drew Brees. Simple as that.
Okay.
It's hard to argue with you, Evan, because I understand why you guys discussed this last week, and there's some very valid points to the team thing. One of the things I always wonder, and we'll find out, and it's not trying to be step up or like scapegoat it, but will these guys end up being professionals when it's game day and they're earning their paycheck, or will they hold a grudge against Brees and kind of just tank the season because they're mad? I'm real curious about that.
Another point I had that I forgot was you have to believe that other teams are going to be gunning after him too.
Oh, other players, yeah.
Oh, yeah, on the other side,
you think they're going to have some bounties by?
Well, that's the thing. Look at what the Saints did to Brett Favre and the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship game. They practically killed him. So
Well, guys, first of all, that they've actually talked about that, and they said there are guys out there that have actually circled that game on their calendar. Yeah, right. Sure. And so there are going to be guys hunting for Drew Brees. Okay. Now I understand he came back. He's tried to make it right. He's trying to understand, but you're right, Evan. I think that fracture, it's so bad that while guys say, and John, you're right, you got to keep a certain piece of professionalism within the game, but there's still that personal feeling. Right. And I think that is going to be where the problem comes. So professionally, they're going to say, Drew, we forgive you. Personally, they're not. And that's a whole different thing. And so you're right. I think he's going to fall out as well. John, do you want to go next, or do you want me to take it?
You're already on the podium. Go for it.
Okay. Evan, I agree with you. That wasn't the direction I was going to go, but I think that's a great pick within the top 10. I'm actually going to go, and you guys are just going to crucify me on this. I'm going to go with Matty Ice. And here's my thing about this. I think that he's a good quarterback, right? And I mean, he's proven, he's gone to the Super Bowl, he's done the right things, but he's gotten older too. Right? Julio Jones has gotten older. They bring in Todd Gurley, which I think is going to hurt his production as well if Todd Gurley does what you guys say he's going to do. Now, if he doesn't and Calvin Ridley totally bumps me right in the ass, this could be bad for me. Right. But like we said, we come into the top 10. It's hard to pick somebody. But if I had to pick one of the top 10 quarterbacks, I got to go with Matty Ice.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. I don't think – he hasn't had that drop off yet, but he is getting older. But quarterbacks last a little bit longer than other positions, so I still expect.
Depends on the offensive line, but yeah.
Right. How good is his offensive line? It's not great.
Yeah.
Falcons aren't going to be that good of a team, so I mean that's
Right.
not a horrible bet. He's not a bad fantasy quarterback though. He puts up numbers, so
Absolutely.
That's a good pick.
I don't dislike the pick, Joe. I actually was crossing my mind, and I'm glad you picked him because now we can all be different. I really want to say Tom Brady because that would be no shocker to any of you. But I decided actually, as I look at the list, I decided to pick somebody that I actually like, but I think, and other than Drew Brees, because you covered it, and I'm not going to argue that it couldn't happen, but of the players that had weapons last year that are in trouble this year, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
I
thought about him.
He definitely is in a situation where he could struggle. And if David Johnson's any good, again, he might take some of his production away. But that team, of any team that might really struggle with chemistry and weapons.
They lost DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. His number one weapon is gone. And Will Fuller is so inconsistent that from a fantasy perspective, I wouldn't count on anything to do with the Texans next
No.
year.
Do you know what? He would have been my next pick.
Me too.
The reason I didn't pick him was because he's such a dynamic young man, a dynamic player that he'll make plays that are just ridiculous that he should never make. I don't know that Matty Ice will be able to do that. And so that's the difference between the two. They did sign what's his name from the LA Rams, the receiver.
Yeah,
Brandon Cooks. So he does have another target.
Too,
So he's got weapons there. If Will Fuller's a great receiver, if he can stay healthy.
But they're nothing compared to DeAndre Hopkins.
No, absolutely not. No, I just think that he's such a talent that just by himself he's going to make plays. He can run, so he'll score a lot of touchdowns. Just him, I think he'll run a lot in. Where the Matty Ice doesn't move. He ain't going to run a whole lot of touchdowns in. If he don't throw in one, then he ain't probably going to get a touchdown. So that's kind of where I went. But I do like the pick of Deshaun Watson. I think he could really be in trouble this year. And David Johnson, I don't know. I'll never give him credit that he's going to take anything away from Deshaun Watson, but he may.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always that chance. But I think Todd Gurley's that same guy for Matty Ice too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's fair.
Good picks. I actually like all three picks.
Yeah.
I think
all very.
I think they're all possible. We could see some.
I think we'll have somebody's prediction come true. Maybe not all of them, but I think they're all reasonable enough that we shouldn't be surprised.
And then Lamar Jackson will blow a fucking knee, and I mean, not that it's his fault, but he'll be the clear bust because somebody drafts him number one, and then he doesn't play after the first game.
Right.
Yeah, that's a contender.
That's a harder one to predict. The injury bust.
Well, you're right. That always happens though. So
yeah.
Yeah, and I do want to throw out I think it's a correction. When you talked about Drew Brees in last year, you said he kind of went downhill in the second half. Well, he didn't even play in the first half.
No, I meant the year before.
Okay.
The year before.
Yeah.
That's
what I assumed you meant. Yeah.
Yeah. When you said, I was like, he didn't even really play the first half. How did his stats go down?
Yeah, stats went down the year before.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Cool.
So let's cover.
Guys,
I want to go, but I'm gonna go wide receivers because normally I'd love to go running backs because they're funner, but and I'm just literally flipping the page, guys, and pulling it up because I totally looked at the wrong list. But hey, I'm good at just throwing it out there, and
I know the guy I picked is now number 15. I'm like, son of a bitch, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, know.
Jesus, and there's so many names just off the top 10 that I'd love to go with.
I know.
Man, there's so many I can't.
Who's standing out? Standing out?
Oh yeah, the one that I'm going to say because I think it's the only one that's possible in my mind because the team struggles is Kenny Golladay. I think that team is going down still. Of course, if Matthew
Stafford,
thank you. If Matthew Stafford stays healthy, this is different. But Matthew Stafford suffered hard last year, and it's the injuries he's having now are like I'm getting old kind of injuries, back and legs and shit. It's not like I got hit in the elbow and it fucked it up, because you saw a helmet hit it. He just is getting hurt, and he didn't come back. I mean, for nothing. So the other guys are just so goddamn good. It's not like I can say Devontae Adams is going to fall out of the top 10. I'm not going with it. The other one, I can't say it because you guys might pick it. I'm going to go Kenny Golladay just because I think he's 7th. So for him to double down worse and end up at 16 is, double would be 14. So to hit 16 where Calvin Ridley's sitting and Ridley bump up and some of these other guys, I don't think that's unreasonable. So
I actually think I disagree. I like Golladay to have a big year because I think the Lions actually do improve. They improve their offense. They improve their offensive line. They added some more pieces. I think they're a 7, maybe even an 8-win team because they're better than the Bears. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, Evan, I kind of agree with you. I like Golladay and I like Jones on the other side. You got 2 great wideouts, and now you add this horse in the backfield, and you still got Matthew Stafford who can sling the ball under center. They've fixed some of their problems at offensive line. They still have some problems there, and they don't have their tight ends.
They added some pieces on defense too.
They've got Hawkinson, so I mean, but I just think I don't know that they won't contend. But they certainly will do better. I know. I see that. And,
I hate to interrupt.
Don't drink the other one.
I was thinking about this as I was drinking. I got to correct it. It's a 7.3. I'm giving it a whole half point higher.
Okay, there you go.
I sucked this sucker down and kept drinking it. It only just stayed better and better.
Yeah. Well, this fucking lemonade stand didn't get any better.
Sorry to interrupt you. You're talking shit. I also wanted to interrupt because there's a okay, quit tearing down my pick without making one. I heard 2 counters, but you didn't throw out who's better, and that's the problem. I'm looking at the list going, who the fuck is worse than this guy?
I have a pick I can give.
I have a pick. I'm ready too.
Get off.
We were just countering. That's we like to counter. We like to counter.
Would you like me to throw one out there then?
Please.
I got no problem. It's Odell Beckham Jr. It's
not
easy
shocked. That would have been my other pick.
It's easy for me. Listen. I don't think the team is going to be better. Now, Evan, I know we've talked about this. You think they are.
I do.
I just really don't. I think there's too many new pieces. They have a new coach. I don't. And he's a diva. And I just think he does more harm to a team than good. He certainly has in Cleveland. We all know the guy's ability. We've seen it in New York. He has not showed it in Cleveland yet. We're still waiting for it. We're waiting to see that dynamic Odell, and we haven't seen him. I don't think we're going to see it this year either. That doesn't mean that he won't come back. I actually think they should try to trade him because they could get something big for him. And Stefanski, the guy that's coming over from the Vikings to coach this team, he's not a diva guy, man. I mean, he's a let's coach. He's a hard nose. Let's get it done. See, I think they're going to have problems.
That makes me, with him being a hard-nosed coach, maybe they get their act together because Freddie Kitchens couldn't manage a team for his life. Like he had no authority over those players. They were in that locker room. So I don't know. I like the Browns to.
I just don't know if Odell's going to like to be run though. Because that's the problem.
Well, I don't think he's going to be singled out per se. I think the whole team is going to have to get used to it. You could say the same thing about Baker Mayfield. But I think he's shown this offseason. He even said he's just shutting up and he's going to play. You haven't heard much from him in the offseason. So I like them to turn it around and OBJ to return to form. But there is the potential for injuries with Odell Beckham Jr. as well. So, is he going to stay healthy in the length of a full season? That could take him down. So, I mean, he hasn't had an OBJ season since he got to Cleveland. So
who do you got, big dog?
I'm going to say Devontae Adams.
I almost went there too.
And so I'm going to say Devontae Adams. We've all talked about how we think the Packers are going to regress, and I definitely agree with that. I think they're going to be a run-heavy team, with Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon in the backfield. So, and, Aaron Rodgers is getting older. I think he's starting to regress. And the numbers, Devontae Adams, he's going to get double covered, triple covered. They have nobody else catching the ball. And here's a list of guys who came after Devontae Adams. Who
You mean Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon under your desk?
Yeah, of course.
Gotcha.
But, I mean, there's guys after Devontae Adams that I don't agree with at all. You have Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Galladay, like you mentioned, Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster, OBJ, Julio Jones. I mean, the list goes on. I think DK Metcalf is a top 10 receiver this year, and I talked about him. Adam Thielen. There's just so many guys who I think are going to outproduce Devontae Adams, and it's not necessarily a fault of Devontae Adams. I think it's just the situation he's in. I don't see him. They have him ranked as the number 3 receiver.
See, that's why I think you're bold.
I don't see that at all.
The consensus of like 50-some retards are saying he's going to be number 3, and you're picking him to drop down 16th or worst.
Yeah.
So
I am.
Kudos for you for being so bold. And obviously I started mine with I don't think Devontae Adams is dropping. That's why
I know, and
which was awesome. That. I mean, Galladay's 7, so that's a little bit more risky. Joe picked the number 10 spot with Odell, which I didn't really counter or comment. I'm not saying either one of you could be wrong because again, this is the tough thing. Odell, I think, is the easiest pick there, but I think he's going to. I mean, he doesn't have to work too hard to stay in the top 10 if he's picked at 10. But he slip to 16? Sure. I think you're fucking crazy on Devontae Adams just because of talent. He can go all the way down to 9 or 10 and still, again, he go down to 15 and you're still wrong. So I'm sticking with my guy, and I think you're nuts to say he's going to drop.
The only thing that's dangerous about Devontae Adams is that he's their only receiver.
He's it. That's it.
So he's gonna get catches. This guy's gonna.
He's gonna get targets. He's gonna get the ball.
I mean that's the one
stop
thing.
The run. They're gonna have to play the run occasionally. And
is he good enough to be triple coverage? Is he good enough to be triple coverage?
I don't know. Ask Tyreek Hill.
You can't triple cover him if you got to come up and play your A.J. Dillon or your Aaron Jones.
Well, and eventually you're throwing to the other guys. Even if they suck, if they're not covered, they're going to get the ball, and eventually they're going to have to pull somebody over to cover the guys who are not covering.
Right, because someone who sucks, if they're wide open, they're still going to catch the ball. Right. They're in the NFL.
Right.
I mean, it's like if there's a tight end and maybe he's not a top name, but if you got 2 guys covering Devontae Adams, he's running free against the linebacker. That's just unfair.
Make the tight end beat him.
That's right. As much as I don't like Aaron Rodgers, he's an experienced quarterback that he can see the couple times that Devontae gets open because they do slide the coverage back away. He's going to go after him. He's going to try to get him the ball.
That's correct.
I don't think he's worthy of number 3.
I'm not saying he's not number 3, but we're saying a bust. I don't know that he's going to fall that far. Is all I'm saying.
We'll see. We'll see.
But kudos to you for picking. That's some balls. You got some balls to say it.
That is some balls.
I know.
That is some nuts.
Oh, yeah.
So, are we moving on to running backs?
Let's get running backs.
All right, start, Joe? So, yeah, of course I do. Yeah. I'm excited about this one. So
you're picking Christian McCaffrey, are you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, this bastard. You watch him blow out a knee now, John. You just jinxed his ass.
That's right.
Actually, luckily for me, the guy that was in the Dynasty rankings is in this ranking as well. So I'm like, great. It was my same guy. And I'm going with Nick Chubb out of Cleveland. I'm banging on Cleveland again. But here's my thing. They have Kareem Hunt. They didn't have Kareem Hunt for 8 games last year. This guy is splitting carries. The reason the running backs in New England never do well in fantasy is because they have 3 of them. It just doesn't work. The guys in Denver won't do well either. Gordon, Lindsey, because they're both going to get the ball. They're good running backs, but they're not – you don't want to take a running back in fantasy if they're sharing carries with somebody. And Nick Chubb didn't last year because the guy is a stud, but he won't be when he's sharing carries with Kareem Hunt. So, yes, I think from number 8, he could really fall, even out of the top 20.
Okay.
So, that would be my guy.
That's fair enough. I like that pick. I think that's fair. I could see, with having Kareem Hunt, maybe Kareem Hunt is dynamic like he was, back in the day. So I could see that happening. You're right. New England, I'd never take New England running backs because it's a waste of time. Trying to predict who is it's a waste of time.
Right. Who's going to have a big game this week?
Right.
I mean, it's shit.
No, I want to go with a guy who I've relied on in fantasy before, and that's Dalvin Cook. Now, Dalvin Cook.
Shocker.
Well, yeah, shocker, right? Because I mean, he just announced he's holding out, right? So he's not gonna be at training camp. Wants a new contract. We've seen how this plays out with running backs before. Look at what happened to Melvin Gordon.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, Austin Eckler emerged as the guy. So,
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yeah.
Just because you mentioned the name, how is Austin Eckler number 13?
He should be top 10.
Oh, thank you.
He should be top 10.
That's the only point I wanted to make. You said his name, so I had to point that out. But I'm sitting here fuming that this guy's not in the top 10. And it's probably because of his performance last year. It wasn't as good as some of these others. But really, he's not in the top 10? Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. Soapbox.
I just think with him holding out, he's going to miss training camp. This feels like one of those, holdouts where it could extend into the regular season.
Oh, yeah.
And Dalvin Cook, he's talented. Don't get me wrong. He's a good running back when he's on the field. He's had an injury history in the past, too. So even when he's on there, you can't necessarily rely on him. Do you guys know off the top of your head who their backup running back is?
Who was it?
I did last year.
Guy, yeah.
I remember they had
he was a rookie. He was a rookie last year, and he was pretty good. But
was it Madison? No,
Madison.
No.
It was. Madison was his last name.
Yeah, but they had another guy that used to play for the Raiders.
Right, but Madison's the guy
didn't they have Latavius Murray at one point?
Latavius Murray, thank you.
Yeah, but he's been not
thank
there.
you.
He's Dallas, right?
But, I mean, I think they like Madison. They didn't bring back Latavius Murray. So I just think that offense it's just gonna move on. And if Dalvin Cook is not going to be there, he's not going to be there. So if he signs before week 1 and he misses all of training camp, he misses all of the preseason, it's too much of a risk to pick him.
I'll tell you what, bud. If you're wrong and he signs before the season, you're gonna hear a really loud thud. Because if he does play in every game, he will be in the top 16.
Yes,
guaranteed.
But I don't think he will.
You don't think he'll sign?
No, I don't think he will.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think he's getting a new contract because we saw what happened. Melvin Gordon screwed the running back holdout party. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Dalvin Cook also saw what happened to Melvin Gordon, who is now with a new team sharing carries.
Right. The biggest fuck up on this was Le'Veon Bell, by the way.
Yes.
In my opinion. Talk about giving away your paycheck and getting a shitty team.
What a dumbass.
And all those other things that you could just, basically.
So maybe he'll learn. But I mean, look what Ezekiel Elliott did. He held out and got a new contract.
Yeah, but he right.
He might think he's as good as Ezekiel Elliott and trying.
But he's not. And he's not worth Zeke money. And so that's the difference right there.
But does he realize that? Ego is a big thing in the NFL.
Of course he does.
Absolutely.
That's why all these guys sit out. But you're right, John. Le'Veon Bell, he's the guy. Yeah. That's the guy that started all this bullshit. And when he sat out the whole year. And that killed him. Now he's up in, he's spurred shit off a runway in Guam right now. I don't even know where the hell he's at. But I mean, give me a break. This guy, you're right, John. He ruined it for everybody. I don't know.
Yeah, there's only one guy that self-destructed bigger, but it wasn't about this, and that's Ricky Williams. But that's for another time. That's for another time in another place. But
Ricky, we're still here with you, brother. Smoke him up.
I know. It's like, come on, just go a little further with your career, and then go smoke. So, Evan, I like your pick. That was kind of the guy I was checking out. This list is hard. I mean, I don't love Nick Chubb. I'm not in love with Joe Mixon. And so I'm looking at – but I really was going to go Dalvin Cook because of what he's doing in his holdout. The team's going to lose a little respect. Shortened season, you need to be with the team as much as possible. Even if he's a good guy, he's just – again, a locker room thing. He's just setting everybody else off of like, what the fuck? You're ditching us at the last minute when it's finally starting to gear up. You couldn't have got this out of the way earlier. I mean, come on. We were all doing nothing for a couple months now, and you're fucking around now. So I get it, and I think all the guys you named after him should all move up. Austin Eckler, Kenyon Drake, and Aaron Jones are outside. Well, Aaron's at 10. So these guys all should be bumping up, and a couple of people got to fall for that. And Delvin Cook's primed to be one of them. Not that Nick Chubb's is a bad choice. So I don't have a whole lot more to say because I think it's a good pick.
Your deal on Joe Mixon, I agree with you there. The only thing that I would say with him is Joe Burrow is so new.
Right.
They're just
what else do they got?
Running him the ball.
What else?
I mean,
that's me too. He's not a great guy, and I could see him fall out of the top 10, maybe 16. But yeah, he's going to get fed, and they don't have a whole lot of other options yet in my mind. I think they got a rookie that they're going to like, but it's going to take some time. So,
yeah. Well, boys, I think we cleared him up. Listeners, hey, I mean, there's your bus, man. Take it from the experts from the pricks.
Right.
These are the picks. These are the guys.
Avoid these guys.
You might stay clear of. Maybe you don't. Maybe you say the fucking pricks don't know what they're talking about. I'm going to go with that.
Probably true.
I know he's going to sign his contract, but either way, man, it's fun.
Right. Absolutely. I was shocked that we stayed as far away from each other. I thought we'd double up a little bit more.
Especially being within 10 guys.
Right. Tell Delvin, I was thinking, oh, we're not going to get it. I think I'm getting Delvin and nobody else is going to pick him. And lo and behold, I thought Joe was going to beat on Aaron Jones. He went after Chubb. And I should have known. I should have known because of Kareem Hunt. As soon as you started talking, it's like, oh, yeah. He likes them, but he's sitting there at 10. And again, if you're going to say the Green Bay's falling.
They are going to be splitting carries with A.J. Dillon.
If they get Wonder back here, he might struggle. But I'll talk about him again later. So I did capture this for a historical sense. We'll put it in our little time capsule, and in a few months we'll crack this bitch back open and see how it's doing. But
beautiful.
All right,
beautiful.
Until then, see you guys all next time where we talk about something. I don't think we know any more than you know.
We'll figure it out.
It will surely be about beer. I can guarantee that part.
As a matter of fact, listen, anybody watching these podcasts, please feel free to shoot us an email with any ideas you'd like us to talk about. I mean, we'll certainly listen to you. If it's something that we think our listeners want to listen to, we'll bring it to the table. So, absolutely. I mean, we won't shy away from anything. So, there it is.
Everything's fair game.
Everything's fair game. All right, guys.
All right. Have a good one. Till next time.
All right. Until next time. See you later, guys.
Later.
Phew. Gone. To this computer.
Yeah, there we go. Recording.
So if we do, who wants to take what? Who wants to go first where?
Let's be loose on that. I mean, I don't care.
I was going to say, if we're just introing in after the beer section, I feel like quarterback is a natural place to start.
That's always what I think too. But then I think just however we end up, because we hate the too scripted thing as we're chatting. Somebody wants to say, well, fuck you all. Let's move on to, running backs, and I'm picked. Then go for it,
Well, yeah.
Then the last guy knows he needs to speak up at some point about the remaining position.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
Well, that works for me.
Cool. So
we'll just go with the flow and hope for the best. And
God, how do you do that? I'm so used to scripts.
Oh, Jesus.
we need a whole template. This needs to be less planned out.
Dude,
that's right. I have a teleprompter right back here.
I actually love that shit. I hate to say it. I mean, not too much.
We know.
But the last show, I got to have – I had a spreadsheet of all the fucking things, and I color-coded shit so it was easy for me to read on the – it was great.
It's easy, John, because we can tell.
I know.
Because you're doing this. You're looking up.
That's fine.
You're like, all right, right. And we're like, oh, he's reading again.
I don't mind being the guy that's known for looking at it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just who you are. You've done it pretty much every show.
I've pretty much proven that if I try to go off purely memory, I can't even remember a fucking guy's name.
I couldn't even remember Andy Reid.
I know. Right. It's guys I clearly know who they are, but it's just like my mind just goes flush. I'm like, fuck.
Kyle Allen is too much on your mind. You need to let him go.
Well, if he'd get his mouth off my dick, I wouldn't be so
Dude,
fucking distracted all the time.
He's in his house. What are you talking about? He's not on his mind.
Did you
Come on
guys
now.
notice the one show we were talking about him and I'm doing this to my cup? You guys didn't even seem to pay attention.
Didn't even notice.
Go back and look. I was like, yeah, Kyle's right here, and I was doing this with my cup, and
Hey,
nobody seemed to catch it. I was like, that sucks.
my wife just stuck the damn bubble gun through the door, and did you guys see bubbles coming all over my head?
No.
No.
She didn't, I wish I would have
Son
caught
of
it.
a
It's
bitch.
been recorded. If we could have saw them, they're on the recording. I was busy looking at my cup.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
no,
I don't even know if
go
you can
back
see
and
it.
look for them.
Yeah, well, they're back over this shoulder. She stuck the gun in. I don't know if you can see it. She's got a
Yeah.
bubble gun.
You
That
probably
was my
deserve that.
daughter. Well, yeah. Well, I'm waiting for my daughter to bring down a freaking tiara or a pink boa for me to wear during a show. And it's a matter of time if we do it earlier. I can
Yeah.
tell you that because she ain't in bed.
That's beautiful.
You know how that shit goes.
We'll be ready. All right. Now we have this recorded too, so now we're gonna hold you to it. We're gonna,
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll just
We're gonna
choose to wear one
we're
for
gonna
a show.
cut it and we're gonna play it so it sounds like you actually want it right before she hands it to you, so that everybody in the audience thinks he just asked her to put the fucking tiara on it.
Oh, isn't that fun?
And look at his
yeah.
smile. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate you both. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
appreciate it.
And then we'll have a,
And this is
unicorn
recording.
dildo cruising by your face as well at the same time.
Wow. Wow. Yep. His name is Kyle.
Mr. Allen,
Mr.
under
Allen.
the desk.
Under the
You
desk.
guys are just fucking jealous. That's
He
all there
lives
is to
there.
it.
A little bit. At least you're getting it.
That's right. That's right. Be it Kyle Allen, but
Hey,
that's all right.
he gets
Hey,
paid quite a bit. That's
you
a
know
great man to
what?
have on your side.
John should feel happy because Kyle's making his skin red.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. He gotta let it go.
You gotta let it go. Yeah. Just walk away,
boy.
my friend.
It's
walk
only
away.
gonna go downhill from there. That's
right.
all there is to it.
Your fantasy football team name has to include Kyle Allen in some
Okay.
capacity.
It will. I'll definitely
Oh,
do that.
there's no
I mean,
question.
I'll have to have a couple others, but we'll go down that road.
That's awesome. I
So
love it.